Sweetly Savory, where this week we are going to be hacking a birthday cake. Evan's having another trip around the sun being celebrated, so I usually try to bake a birthday cake for him. His favorite one that I've done is a Dinosaur Dig Cake, and that was quite a project. I had 2 cakes that I had to put together on this giant cookie sheet, and then I frosted it, and then I made this Oreo crumble concoction, just Oreo crumbles, like bashed it with the rolling pin, and I melted up some white chocolate like I have here, and I melted that up, and I made some dinosaur bones, and I put that, arranged it on the cake, and everything was made from scratch, so that's why it was quite a project for me. It took like a day or 2, because you gotta make this the night before, make this dinosaur mold the night before preferably, and then put that in the fridge or freezer, get that nice and solid, and then you'll put it on your cake once that's cooled, because you don't want everything all hot and melty going together. So this year I asked him, do you want ice cream cake or dinosaur dig? Because he loves ice cream cake, and he loved that dinosaur dig cake because it was just so cool. And then I gave him the option of, why not both? Not that I'm gonna make an ice cream cake from scratch, heck no. Of course I'm gonna go ahead and buy one. So I went to the grocery store, picked up a giant sheet cake for ice cream, and I'm gonna go ahead and put my dinosaur dig stuff on top. What I'm gonna do tonight is melt up my white chocolate bark, and I'm gonna do that in a double boiler. Now I don't have a glass bowl to put on top of my pan, because a lot of chefs do that so that you can see your water evaporating, but I try to keep an eye on my chocolate, and I just use this big old metal bowl, and we're gonna put that on top, use it as a double boiler or a bain-marie, and gotta keep an eye on it so that your water doesn't boil away and that your chocolate doesn't get scalded or whatever you're melting, because you don't want your chocolate or whatever it is to scald in your bain-marie or your double boiler. And because burnt chocolate is not good, it's not gonna temper and do what you want in the mold, and it's not gonna taste good at all, because if you've had burnt anything like burnt chicken or burnt popcorn, it has like a charcoaly taste, and you don't want that appearing in your beautiful little dinosaur chocolate molds. You can make any kind of mold you want. I just happen to have these from Williams-Sonoma of all places. I was looking for them last minute when I did this project originally, and this happened to be the place where I got them. So I'm not sure if they carry these anymore, but this is a really cool idea. I'm sure you can find something like this, like on Amazon. What I'm doing is a Stegosaurus and a T-Rex, because T-Rex is Evan's favorite dinosaur. Yes, he really is in his 30s, so don't be alarmed. So I'm going to be doing these up, and I'll show you how I go ahead and prep them when time comes, but for right now, what I'm going to do is get this chocolate going, and sort of already soft because it is the dog days of summer. But I want to get this into smaller pieces so that it melts quickly and I'm not up all night. And what I've got here is about 13 ounces of this almond bark or white chocolate. Now, I may decide to do more for my molds. It depends on how big your molds are and how much chocolate you're going to need, but for right now I've got 12 3/4 ounces, and we'll take it from there. So watch pot doesn't boil. I'm going to put the regular lid back on there because that metal bowl is going to get super hot, and I don't feel like dropping it or anything when I'm going to check it. Check the water to be boiling. So we'll be back in however long it takes for the water to boil. Our water is finally boiling. So what I'm gonna do is keep my trusty pot holder right by my side. And I'm gonna gently start dropping this in. So you want to keep it moving around constantly. And you can kind of see that it's already starting to get mushy in there. And something tells me we're going to be needing some more of the chocolate. I think I'm just going to use that same amount. So this whole block is about 24, 26 ounces. I'm just going to use half of it. I'll start with this for right now. I'll just keep on trucking. Now this looks like it's probably going to be enough. So what I'm going to do now is leave this on low. That way it just stays warmer than the actual room temperature, even though it's fairly hot in here. I'm going to go set up over at the making stage of the molding part, and I'll show you how I get those prepped, and we'll keep on going. So we're set up over here at our mold making station, and I've got my two chosen dinosaurs for my molds. I got my T-Rex here, Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I got my Stegosaurus. Even though these are silicone molds, I found last time that the chocolate really did still stick to them. It could be batter, because these are actually made for pancake molds. It could be like pancake batter that's gonna have a different reaction in the silicone, but for these purposes it still works really well, quite fantastically. I was like super surprised, but I wanted to grease them up, so I've got a little bit of canola spray. I would probably recommend using this instead of vegetable spray or anything else. Anything that you're not going to really taste would be best bet. And this is also what I use on our cast iron, and to season that, so I can put a link up in the description for that video. Alright, so I've got these spritzed up, and since I left our chocolate on low over that double boiler, which was perfect to keep it pliable, if you will. On to the T-Rex. I think this is going to be as good as it's going to get. I'm really hoping that I filled in all the little cracks and crevices in these molds. I don't want to pick them up because I'm like afraid that it's gonna leak out or something, but oh yeah, it looks like I've done fairly good. All right, and just a little, yeah. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is stick this in the freezer. Actually, I was gonna stick it in the fridge originally, but it is just so stinking hot. I'm gonna put this in the fridge overnight, and when we come back, we will get our Oreo Dig. So we're back. We've changed up again, and I got my little mini food processor. This is probably the smallest thing on the face of the planet for a food processor, but it's usually just the two of us. We really only use it for ham salad, and maybe I used it for chopping nuts at some point. It was probably when I was trying to figure out the best method for the carrot cake oatmeal. And now I do some other variation on carrot cake for breakfast, so might have to stay tuned for that. I'm gonna come up with a better method than what I have this week, so there's always room for improvement, especially in your cooking. So I just got regular little bag of Oreos, and I'm super surprised that these weren't opened midweek because it's been a long one. So these I'm just gonna put into the food processor. I might get some that's gonna come out more like a fine dust, that way I can cover the bottom of the cake. And the rolling pin method, I think I'll use that to leave them crumblier, bit more like rocks, and that I can use around the molded dinosaur bones at the end. But for right now, we're just gonna get this piece started and we'll go from there. Next setup for my next magic trick, I'm going to go ahead and bash these bad boys with rolling pin, and I've got my cast iron skillet, but this is a griddle, that's the word. Kind of look like rocks in our dig site. So here we are, we've got some bigger pieces and looks gravelly, so I think we did a pretty good job. I'm just going to go ahead and toss that in and keep on going. Now the Oreo Crumbles, I'm just going to go ahead and put these in an airtight container, as airtight as possible, and I'm going to put these in the fridge overnight because it is so warm. Keep these nice and dry for our cake, and tomorrow we will assemble like Avengers, and then we'll put everything together for the big reveal later on. Thanks so much. We'll see you in the mañana. So what I'm going to do now is take out my dinosaur molds for the topper of the cake, and these were in the freezer overnight because it is stinking hot, and I really hope that I can get these out without too much damage, but you know what? It's okay because it's all homemade. So let's just see what happens. It actually gives it that broken bone effect then, since the Stegosaurus tail has come off here. All right, we got one part down and the whole rest of this guy to go. So I finally got the body for the Stegosaurus free, and this is definitely not anatomically correct because bony pieces wouldn't be like this, they'd be, you know, skeleton. But that's the fun of doing it this way. So now what I've actually had to do is take up a tool, just a paring knife, trying to poke it out of there. I'm not really cutting it because I don't want to cut my silicone mold, but I did have to use a tool just to get some of this stuff free, because it is still, even though I used the oil there, this T-Rex is coming out nicely. It might be because it was sitting out here. Okay. And our final piece. There. Ooh, so fantastic. Just realized you guys couldn't see that. So here are our dinosaur pieces. And we're gonna get ready to assemble on the cake and wash up our hands and be back in a few moments. All right, so we're back and we've got our ice cream cake. Now I'm just gonna leave the frosting as is because it's gonna start to melt real bad. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get my cookie crumbles going here. Make a bit of a mess. Can't see what I'm doing. There we go. Now you can see that mess I made. There we are. Grab our chocolate molds. And I've got my, just like when you're doing a puzzle, you want to make sure that you have the box in front of you so that you know what goes where, or at least you have a good idea of it. So I've got my pieces right there and gonna hope for the best with putting this together. Oh, well there we are. And I guess I can have some scraggle bones here, these little broken off pieces. I mean, there we go. It's definitely a cake, a sight to behold. You can tell it was definitely homemade, but it's made with love and certainly creative. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Like, subscribe, you know, put all those little linky things over there. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications, and we'll see you next time.